Hi there.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We are excellent. Waiting for you.
Perfect.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oops.
excellent. Great.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'll do a quick little introduction about me. So my name is Kylie Bettine. I'm going to school to become a teacher. I'm thinking I want to be either a third or fourth grade teacher, but I'm not really sure yet. But tonight I will be your English teacher, and I'm really excited to hang out with you guys for a little bit. And then something interesting about me is that I love coffee, hot or cold, I'm there either way. And then that's just a picture of me over on the right when I was at a conference earlier this year in Atlanta. But tonight we are going to be going over the schwa sound. I know you guys are already a little bit familiar with the schwa sound, so we're going to do a little bit of review and then dive a little deeper into this topic and what that's going to look like tonight. So a few objectives I have for this lesson is identify the schwa sound in spoken and written words, pronounce the schwa sound in common English words through practice, and then lastly is practicing saying the schwa sound in sentences with appear. So tonight's going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun stuff planned for us, but I'm really excited. So before we dive deeper into what some new stuff, we're just going to quick review what you guys already know. A lot of the stuff that is going to be in my upcoming slides, this is stuff that was pulled right out of your guys' textbook, so you should be a little bit familiar with it already. But this is kind of the place, if you're wanting to take notes at all about this upcoming stuff, this is kind of the place where I recommend to start. So before we dive deep into new stuff, I kind of like to first compare Spanish versus English when it comes to the vowel sound. So when it comes to Spanish, for the vowels, they are always going to sound the same when it comes to that vowel sound. I have a few examples that I'm going to say for you guys. Spanish is not my first language, so bear with me here on how I pronounce some of these words. But the ah sound in casa and banana, that is going to sound that same A sound. And then E in such as mesa and elefante, it's going to be that same sound. And then I in chico and difficil always is going to have that same I. And when I was talking with my professor when I was preparing for this lesson, he said that depending on what region you're in, some Spanish vowels it can sound just a little bit differently. But he said for you guys should be in the clear where it all sounds the same. And then other than that, we are also going to have our English sounds. So when it comes to English, the vowels can be unstressed and change their sound, just like that schwa sound that we're going to be going over today. So a few examples before we dive deep into what's next is going to be salad, salad. So that first A is stressed because it actually says its vowel pronunciation, the sa. And then that second A at the end, that A makes the I sound. So it's salid, id. And then in that second example, in about, that A is unstressed because it's going to make that sound. And that's what becomes that schwa sound. So when it's going to come to terms and definitions, let me quick move myself over. So this definition of schwa is a short, weak, quick, and unstressed sound. The reason why it's a schwa, as English, we're kind of lazy with how we pronounce things, and that's why we pronounce it as that And anytime you're going to write that schwa, it's going to be an upside down E, and then it's going to sound like the and the I sound usually. And any vowel can make that schwa sound. Again, it's just because we skip over it because we're lazy with how we speak in English. And then a few more examples is going to be in the word the. That ending E, we don't say we quickly skip over it, which is why it's the. And then that next word is sofa, sofa. That A at the end is going to make that sound, making that schwa. And then that last example I have is sister, sister. We quickly just briefly say it, sister. So that E really doesn't make the sound because we just quickly say it. So when we are going to be finding that schwa sound, it's really easy to find what letters make that schwa sound after we identify what that stressed syllable is going to be. That stressed syllable is any of those letter vowel sounds that are longer and louder and they're a little bit higher. The stressed syllable is what gives us English speakers our voices so they don't sound like robots. It actually gives us voice and volume in our speaking. So first, we'll just kind of go over that. So your stressed syllable is that strongest syllable. So in the first word is going to be mother, mother. You guys are more than welcome to say that out loud if you would like. Mother. So in that, yeah, very good job. So in mother, we can hear that that is that strongest and loudest part of that word because my voice gets a little bit higher. And then our next word is husband, husband. You guys can try that. Very good job. So in husband, we can hear our voices just be a little bit more stronger when we're starting that word. And then our next word is panda, panda. Very good job. And then that last example I have is Adam, Adam. Very good job. Okay. And then now, since we know what our stress syllable is, it's going to be very easy to find our schwa part of our word. So our unstressed and stressed, that is going to be part of our connected speech. So I just put a few of these words into a sentence form for us to look at, but overall, some of the words are very similar. So in this sentence, Lily is my mother. Lily is my mother. I can hear myself when I say mother, mother. That beginning part of moth is that stressed, and then we quickly say and that's going to be what that schwa sound is. And then for that next one, we have Paul is my husband. Paul is my husband. We can hear the way our voices rise and just the way that we say hus, just a little bit longer. So that ending part, the bund, that is part of our schwa sound because we actually don't say in husband. And then that next sentence, I am a part of the band. I am a part of the band. So in the word apart, we first say and that right away, we know that's our schwa sound because we don't say part. And then our last word is going to be, we go to the park. And the word the at the end, we can hear that that sound. So now since we have reviewed a little bit about what the schwa is and then how it connects with our stressed and unstressed language, we are quickly going to do a quick activity. So in this activity, I'll just kind of go over what those directions are going to look like for this. So first, you are going to see a word popping up. Popping up also just means appearing. That's just a part of some English slang for you guys. But a word is going to pop up on the screen. When that word pops up, you guys can write that word down in your notebook, and we are going to identify the stress syllable and then underline the schwa sound. So if you are wanting to use two different colored markers, if you want to do a scribbly line and then a straight line, however you're wanting to differentiate those upcoming words, that choice is entirely up to you. And then after we have found that stressed and unstressed syllable, then we are going to share answers with a partner and just kind of collaborate a little bit and see what everyone else got. So are we ready?
Yeah.
Perfect. So our first word that we're going to take a look at is going to be stadium. You're more than welcome to say it after me. Stadium. Stadium. Very good job. So in the word stadium, stadium. Right away, I can hear that I'm actually pronouncing my A sound and I'm making that very long and it's a little bit louder. Stadium. So if I know my stress syllable and I'm underlining that in orange, that's just how I did mine. My next one is going to be find the schwa. So stadium, stadium. I can hear that schwa is going to be part of my I because I'm not saying stadium is how I'm pronouncing that word. So the next one, we're going to do this one a little bit together. So this word is possible. Possible. Yep. Very good job. So when we say the word possible, possible, what part of the speech are we saying a little bit louder and a little bit more stronger compared to the rest? So that is going to be the os, possible, possible. And now since I have my stress syllable, I'm now going to find what my schwa sound is going to be. So my pos is stress. So possible, possible. And I can hear that in my throat. And that's how I know that subble. That's how I can hear that one. So next here, since we've gone through a few different examples that I've done, you guys helped me out with that one before. Now you guys are going to be doing a few examples of your own. So very similarly, we're going to write that word in our notebook. We're going to identify that stress syllable, then also identify that schwa sound. Again, using any colors or underlining methods that you're wanting to do. Right before I send you guys loose, I will first pronounce these for you guys just so you can kind of hear it from my voice. So the first word is sofa. The next one is family. Family. Next is elephant. Elephant. That next one is going to be support. Support. And that last one is going to be lava. So I'll give you guys about 5 minutes. You might not need all 5 minutes, but you're more than welcome to work on this individually. Just give it a go to find that stressed and unstressed, and then connect with a peer and kind of compare answers for that. So take as much time as you need while you watch the timer. Okay, how are we doing with time? Do we need a little bit more time or are we all good? Good. Perfect. Okay, so we'll kind of review these together and see how you guys did. So for that first word, it was possible, possible. So we already did that one together. Sorry. So the first word was sofa, sofa. So you guys can say it out loud to your peer, but what did you think that stress syllable was? Yes, exactly. That's so. And then if we know that the so is that stress syllable, what do we think that schwa sound is going to be? Very good job. You guys are doing great. So then that next word we have is family, family, family. What do we think that stress syllable is going to be? Very good job. So fa is going to be our stress syllable. So if we know our stress syllable is fa, what do we think our schwa sound is going to be? Yes. Very good job. Oh, sorry. I gave that one away too early. So our next word is elephant. Elephant. Do we have any guesses on what our stress syllable is? Okay, so that would be right in the beginning because we say elephant. Elephant. We right away overpronounce that L in the beginning. And then next, if we know that is our stress, do we have any idea for what our schwa is? So this is going to be our E because elephant. Our E actually isn't making that sound, it's that sound in that schwa. Our next one, this is our little tricky one here, but does anyone have any guesses for what our stress syllable is in support? So our stress syllable in support, that is going to be the last port. We kind of skip over the beginning, support, support, support. We really over enunciate that last ending word. And then if support is our stress syllable, our schwa is going to be the because we skip over that very briefly, even though it already makes that sound. And then our last one, does anyone have any guesses on what that stress sound is going to be? Yes, la, very good job. So if we know la is our stress syllable, what do we think our schwa sound is going to be? Va. Very good job, everyone. You guys are doing really good so far. So now, since we have done a little bit of practice with that, we are now going to practice the schwa sound while making our own sentences. So overall, it's very similar to the activity we just did before, but just a little bit differently. So first, we're going to write the word in our notebook, just like we did. Then we're going to find that stress syllable as well as that schwa sound. And then we're actually going to create a sentence using that word. And then when we make a sentence, we're actually going to practice saying that word with a partner. And that partner, your responsibility is making sure that they're pronouncing that schwa sound to the best of your guys' ability. So right away here, I'll kind of do a quick little example one I did. So the first word I chose was hospital, hospital. So in the word hospital, I can hear my stress syllable, which is that hospital, hospital. And then when I need to find my schwa sound, I know that it isn't in my beginning. So hospital, bull, bull. It's that very ending because I'm saying it very quickly and I'm skipping over it because I'm being lazy with how I speak. And then when it comes to creating a sentence for this, I said, my mom works in the hospital. And then our next word, we can kind of do this one together. Our word is butter, butter. You guys want to try saying that? Butter. Very good job. So in the word butter, butter, we can hear that our stress syllable right away that we are over pronunciating is going to be that butter. Even though that U makes that sound, it's still being what's over pronunciated. So if we know but and butter is going to be our stress syllable, what do we think our schwa sound is going to be? Very good job. So is going to be that schwa sound. And then when it comes to making a sentence, I like to eat bread and butter for breakfast. So now we are just going to do a few of these by yourself. So I have 8 different words for you guys to find that stress syllable and then underline that schwa sound. Again, I'll pronounce these words for you right away before you are headed out on your own. So that first word is garden, garden. That next one is going to be button, button. Next, we have teacher, teacher. Following that, we have father, father. Then is problem, problem. Next is lemon, lemon. Pencil, pencil. And then danger, danger. So again, find that stress syllable, find that schwa, and then write that sentence and then practice that sentence with a peer or whoever is around you guys. So when you're finishing up with that, you guys can just give me a thumbs up so I kind of know how we're doing for time. I do have about a 7-minute timer here. And then as time slowly goes, I'll actually slowly reveal the answers instead of going over them as a whole group. Are we ready? I know you guys can do it. Okay, here we go. Okay, how's everyone doing so far? Good? Great, okay. Do I have any brave people that are willing to share their sentence with me?
Who wants to share the sentence? Huh?
Or that Schwa sound. For the good evening. Okay, do you need the Schwa sound or just the sentences?
The sentence sounds great.
Okay, the first is the garden is beautiful.
Very good job. I like it a lot. Okay, anyone else want to share their sentence?
A sentence with one. People?
That's perfectly okay if I have no takers. We can move on to our little quiz at the end here, so no problem at all. But thanks everyone for participating and making those sentences and finding those stressed syllables and sounds. You all did great. So my assessment for you guys is just a simple thumbs up or thumbs down, but our stressed syllables the same as that schwa sound. So thumbs up or down. Very good job. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs down. That is the correct answer. So good job, everyone, for that. And then, are there any questions today before we wrap it up? Okay. Well, thank you guys all for hanging out with me tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. You really
you.
have the teacher attitude.
Thank you.
Gonna be a great teacher. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed the class.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.